NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bring your latest in your Brooklyn Nets news. We've got a lot to talk about in this episode, a lot to discuss. It's currently January 17th when I'm doing the video. For most of you, it'll probably be January 18th when you see it, but I always got to let you know exactly when I'm doing the video. A lot to go over. We got to discuss the last 4 games for the Nets, in which they went 2-2. We got to talk about the upcoming tough schedule, and followed by a softer patch of games afterwards. But more importantly, and first off, we're going to talk about Kyrie Irving. We're going to address the quote that he said after the 76ers game, and then we're going to discuss what it means and really should we be making such a big deal about it, as well as talk about the follow-up he had to do with his teammates, because that's the most latest story, was that after the quote, he actually spoke to his teammates to not apologize, but explain where he was coming from. Look, we know that I've been in Kyrie's corner basically from the beginning, right? I have the hashtag on with Kyrie thing that I'm trying to, do, and I've always said that I really like the guy because he was one of the few people to ever say I want to be a Net, all this stuff. I think he's one of the best point guards in the league, all this stuff. We all know that I've been in his corner. And after this quote, which I have read this quote a bunch of times, it's a pretty long quote. I'm not really going to reiterate it. I'm not going to really read it. I might point out some things that he said. If you don't know what I'm talking about or you don't know the quote, just search it. It'd be very easy to find, and you can read the whole quote. But after this quote, I'm still in the guy's corner. Leave him alone. This quote was not that bad. And it's once again the media, mostly the Boston beat writers and the jealous Knick beat writers, going out there and trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. This quote was so taken out of context by all the media. You want to know how out of context it was? I saw him in that post-game interview after the 76ers game. Like, I was watching it live, and I heard that quote. And my mind didn't go, he's blaming his teammates. He's saying the team's not good enough. They didn't mention Jared Allen or Joe Harris or Taurean Prince. He wants them gone. He doesn't like them. That didn't go in my mind. You know what I took away from this quote? It was, we're not there yet. We've got good young pieces, but we're not a championship team. We're not even a 500 team right now. We need to get it together, and whether it's internal personnel stepping up or going out and getting some help, we need to figure it out because we are not where we should be. That's what that quote was. That's the way I took the quote. But no, the Boston beat writers and the Knicks fans and all the Kyrie haters out there had to be like, look at him, he's throwing his team under the bus. He's just like he was when he was with the Celtics. He's a terrible person. We shall crucify him. Like, seriously. Leave him alone. If this was any other person who made this quote, except for maybe like LeBron James, we probably would have backed off and not even make that big deal about it. Like, if Kemba Walker, I love Kemba Walker. I have nothing but respect for the guy. But, he's been put on like a podium of greatness, a pedestal. That's what makes more sense. A pedestal of greatness for coming in and being a full team guy. If he made this quote, the Celtics beat writers would be like, he's right. He's just the guy that he is. What a good leader. He's trying to say the team needs help. Oh, that Kemba Walker. But no, Kyrie makes it, and it's shame on him. He's such a terrible, narcissistic, attention-grabbing person. Look, could he have worded this differently? Absolutely. I mean, certain things of it don't really come across as, very, team-oriented, especially when you say, we have to get other pieces. You kind of insinuating your team's not quite good enough now. And then when he went around listing the names of the players, what he should have said at the very end was either not listed the name of the players or just said, and all the other guys, But what happened is he hit some of the main players on the team and kind of excluded I don't want to say not as important players, so I'm pretty sure Jared Allen and Joe Harris are major players, and even Taurean Prince. But But, what did you expect him to do? List the entire roster? Like, once he started naming players, either he was going to have to name everybody or he was going to be considered, a rude, selfish player who hates players that he doesn't name. Like, that's so twisting everything. Like, at the Golden Globes, when people are thanking people, they always forget certain people. It doesn't mean they hate them. It's just a spur-of-the-moment thing that people slip their minds. Yes, Kyrie should have said, and all the other guys. And everyone at the end. Something that makes the team as a whole. But people are trying to make it out a big deal. If I'm Jared Allen, I'm furious. He didn't mention him by name. What? You think Jared Allen really cares if he got mentioned? Because Jared Allen knows his relationship with Kyrie Irving. They knows who he is as a player. Kyrie Irving knows Jared Allen. He just named the players that were off the top of his head. Look, maybe Kyrie is closer with those guys that he named than Jared Allen. That's absolutely true. You're going to name off, the people that you're closer with. But that doesn't mean you don't think they should be on the team. That was completely taken out of context. Like, that is ridiculous. And, like, when he's talking about we're one or two pieces away, he basically means, like, we still need more. We know Kevin Durant's going to come next season, but we still need more. This team needs a little bit more. That's no knock on saying that these players should go or dividing up the team. That's just saying, hey, guys, don't have a big head. We're not that good. All right? We haven't played that well. Now, I think the major criticism is that he went public with the comments, right? That's what a lot of people say. It's like Kyrie shouldn't have said it in an interview. But at the end of the day, this is what we want him to do. This is what we want our athletes to do, right? We want them to be honest and upfront about their opinions of their situations, and then we go and we spin it on them and make it sound like that they're terrible people. Well, we asked the question. Yes, he could have and should have worded it differently. I'm on board with that, but I'm not making a major deal out of this. I mean, I keep on reading the quote over and over again, and I don't see anything. There's glaring weaknesses. It's pretty glaring that we need more. It is glaring that we need more. The Nets are 18-22. They are been a very disappointing team. He's not saying anything that we don't already know. Boy, you're not supposed to throw your teammates under the bus. He's not. He's just saying, guys, we're not good enough. And you want to know something? If I'm Jared Allen or I'm Joe Harris or I'm Spencer Dinwiddie or I'm Kenny Atkinson, I'm anyone in the Nets locker room, I say, you're right, Kyrie. We're not good enough. We need more. And maybe that more comes from us. Because he never specifically said we have to go out there and get someone. Yes, he says organizationally they'll address that over the summer. But he's also saying, like, this is what we signed up for. We knew that we were waiting for Kevin Durant. Everyone who signed with the Nets this season, Gary Temple, right? Taurean Prince. Well, he was traded for it. But, DeAndre Jordan, Kyrie Irving. These guys knew that this was not going to be the year they were going to win a championship. It's about next year. So Kyrie is saying, look, we're not that good right now. We're still getting there. We're still pieces away. What's wrong with saying that? I just don't get it. I don't understand why people are making such a big deal about this. And I'm like the only one who sees it this way. Everybody else is saying, oh, you're so bad. You can't be talking about your teammates in public to the media like that. Blah, 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 blah. It should be something that he should say maybe to Sean Marks or Kenny Atkinson. No. We want transparency. That's all we ask for as fans and as media and as, Nets personnel and this and that. You want transparency. You want honesty. The Nets are not a good team right now. They do need more. And this, if anything, to me, I would take this as a challenge from Kyrie Irving. If I'm Joe Harris, Jared Allen, any of the guys, I'll be like, Kyrie doesn't think we're good enough. And I'm not going to take that personally. I'm going to be like, this is the only guy on this team, other than, obviously, Kevin Durant, though technically Joe Harris, I think, won a championship with Cleveland way back, but he wasn't in the rotation then. But this is the only guy who really, playing on this team right now, is a champion. He was on a team that won a championship. And like I said, I think Joe Harris did as well, but he was not in the rotation. I know he wasn't in the rotation. I think he was with the Cavaliers when they won the 1 year. I'm not sure 100% on that. I'll have to look back. But regardless, this is the guy you should be listening to. And that's what Kyrie's saying. He says, listen, I know what we need to do to win, and we are not there. Now, I think Kyrie needs to understand a few different things that what works under one circumstance is not going to work on the other. What might have worked in Cleveland is not necessarily going to work in Brooklyn, and same thing when it was with the Celtics. I think Kyrie's kind of not understanding that. But I am not taking this quote as such a negative, terrible thing that everyone else is. I just see it as we're not there. We need to get there. Either we figure it out or management will figure it out for us. So it's on us. We knew what we were coming into this year, what the expectations were, and we've got a long ways to go. That's the way I take it. So lay off Kyrie. I'm telling you, man, this is ridiculous now. This shouldn't be that big of a story, yet it is. And I cannot believe all the negative, publicity he got for it. So much to the effect that he had to go around and apologize to his teammates and say, listen, I didn't mean like this, and that. And I do like what he said after the words. That's another quote. He basically said to the media, F off. You guys think you know what I'm trying to say, but you're not in the locker room. These guys know who I am. They knew what I'm trying to say. They're not the ones who misunderstood me. You are. So F off. And you want to know something, Kyrie? I applaud you, because that's so true. The media is the outlet for the voice for the fans, not for the players. Now, if a player went out there and pulled the media aside, a media member said, I don't really like Kyrie, I didn't like what he said, you got yourself a story. But you did not hear that from a single Nets player. All right, the media is the voice of the fans, not the players. The players are the voice of the players. So let's back off. It's ridiculous. Let the guy say something without getting scrutinized. Anyway, I got to get off this. I've talked about it for 10 minutes. We have to discuss basketball games. Throwing pens now. Look, there's not a lot to go over these last 4 games. They beat the Heat, which was a great win. Kyrie came back and looked fantastic against the Hawks, a game I was at. It was great to see Vince Carter and root for him for one last time. That was great. Kyrie looked fantastic. And then it seemed like something fell off for Kyrie against both the Jazz, who, by the way, were one of the hottest teams in the league at the time, and then the 76ers. Kyrie had one of his worst games in a long time. The biggest takeaway that that I've seen from the last few games, especially recently, is that this team needs to learn how to play together at the end. Kyrie Irving changes everything, both good and bad. His presence is kind of making it a little bit harder for the rest of the guys to figure out their role. That's a good thing and a bad thing. It's bad because they need to figure it out, and that's why it was very evident at the end of the 76ers game. The Nets had no idea what to do. They had LeVert, Dinwiddie, and Kyrie out there, which should be out there. Those are your 3 best players. But you could tell that those 3 guys at this point were like, you shoot. No, you shoot. Okay, let's try you now. Like, they have no idea what they're doing. And Kenny Atkinson needs to figure it out. Those 3 guys need to figure it out, because the only way they're going to be successful is if they do figure it out. So that's the biggest takeaway I'm seeing now, is that with Kyrie back, the offense has to figure it out again. And that's what everyone's saying. That's the argument, that the Nets are better without Kyrie, because they kind of had it figured out without Kyrie. But the only reason why they're better without Kyrie is because they had more games without Kyrie. And look, basketball is all about trial and error. It's all about personnel. It's all about learning how to play with each other. Anyone who's ever played, a pickup basketball game ever knows that you have a much understanding of your team when you've played with the player before. And, they've only played like 6 games with all these guys healthy. Actually, if you count Wilson Chandler, there's only been 3 games where all the guys have been healthy. So there's still a lot to figure out. That being said, I still expect them to win. They still should have beaten the 76ers, I feel like. They had them right where they wanted them, but they didn't execute down the stretch. The Jazz game was a hard-fought game. I think the Jazz were going to win that game regardless, but I think they really could have beaten the 76ers. But now it just continues to get harder for this team. They have the Bucks Saturday night. Then they have the 76ers again. Then they have the Lakers. So those are 3 really, really tough games. And they're 18-22. They're 4 games under 500. And we're right at the halfway part of the season. All right? So it's going to be tough. But let me say this. The road gets a lot easier after these next 3 games for the Nets. So all I'm going to ask the Nets do the next 3 games is win one of the next 3. 76ers, the Bucks, 76ers, and Lakers. Just upset these guys one of those games, right? Because then you're going to be, unfortunately though, you'll be 5 games under 500 after that if you go 1-3. But the stretch after that is the following teams: Pistons, not very good. Knicks, though they beat the Nets recently, not very good. Pistons again, not very good. Bulls, pretty bad. Wizards, one of the worst teams in the league. Suns, a team that beat the Nets earlier, but I think the Nets should beat them. So that's, what was that, 6 now? And then the Warriors, one of the worst teams in the league right now. That's 7, I don't know count, but there's 7 games in a row that the Nets should absolutely be favorites to win. Are they going to win those 7 games? I don't know. I hope so. But to me, 6-1 is the stretch that they should at least go, and that's certainly doable. If they go 1-2 the next 3 games and 6-1 the next 7, they will be 2 games over 500 for the rest of the year. And then they can continue to build and get to that 45 win mark. But that's what I want to see. That is what I'm expecting. And I don't see why they can't win one of the next 3 games, upset one of those teams. And I don't see why they can't win 6 out of the next 7 against those teams. Because they are clearly the better team. I'm giving them a 1-game, disaster situation where they lose to one of those weaker teams. But they could very easily go 7-0. So the way I look at it is the Nets should be 2 games over 500 after that stretch of games. And then we'll see what they'll do moving forward with the rest of the year. So, tough games coming up, but a lot of winnable games after that. Kyrie Irving, Dinwiddie, LeVert, the rest of the guys, Kenny Atkinson, they need to figure out how to play and how to execute. Because like I said, it's just right now, you give it a try. No, you give it a try. No, this and that. Got to figure it out. Got to do it soon. Because they got to start winning games. They're in the A seed right now at 18-22, but they're now a full game behind the Magic. They're still like 4 games up, but still, you don't want to get too far behind. You want to make the playoffs, and I don't think you want to be the 7th or A seed come playoff time. So they need to start winning. They need to figure it out, and the media needs to lay off Kyrie because I'm sick of it. All right, there you have it. Wrapping up this video now. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about, Kyrie Irving and that whole headache. If you think that what he said was that wrong, and like I said, it could have been worded better, but I'm not taking the way that what he said so literally. That's the best way to look at it. People took what he said so literally that it's just too much. Let me know what you guys think. If you want to, it's old news, Kevin Durant's still talking to a lot of people. He had the little talk with, thing back and forth with Kendrick Perkins and all that stuff. And most recently, he talked about the toughest players he ever guarded and so on and so forth. He just has to stay engaged. I didn't really talk about that in my last NetsBoy episode because, I don't know, the narrative was the same thing. There's 2 narratives I'm sick of. I'm sick of the Kyrie Irving is the worst person in the world narrative. And I'm also sick of why did Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant pick the Nets over the Knicks. And that's kind of what that Kevin Durant, Kendrick Perkins thing was. So I didn't really talk about that. But, I'm sick of that. I'm sick that that's the narrative. It's always the same thing. It's always, why the Nets? Why this? I hate you. Why, it's almost like the people want to knock the Nets so badly that they'll grasp at anything they can to try to knock them down. And I've always noticed that, There's some people out there, by the way, who don't think Vince Carter's jersey should be retired with the Nets. That's another way to knock the Nets down. Well, Vince Carter's jersey should just be a Raptor. He's always a Raptor. He'll forever be a Raptor. The freaking Toronto Raptor fans didn't even care about Vince. They booed him for years. They just accepted him the last couple years ago. Nets fans always loved the guy. And by the way, he was just as successful with the Nets as he was with the Raptors. And he only played 1.5 years more with the Raptors. He played 6.5 seasons with the Raptors, 5.5 with the Nets. So, 1 year less. And he had just as good numbers. How can you even, I'm sorry, this was something else. I just heard this in a debate. It's saying, the Nets shouldn't waste their time retiring Vince Carter's number. Are you stupid? his number should be retired with the Nets. The Nets and the Raptors, they should retire Vince's number. Absolutely. And he should be invited to the All-Star game as an honorary All-Star, like Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki was last year. But that's for a different time. So anyway, sorry, got sidetracked. Point is, I think people continue to try to knock the Nets any way they possibly can. That's what I think the story is. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think they can upset one of these teams coming up the next 3 games. Which team you think they could upset? I'm going to be honest. I think the Lakers are the most likely team that I think the Nets could upset. Especially if Anthony Davis doesn't play. And, I just think that's the team that most logically the Nets could upset of the next 3. Or the 76ers. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Also about that 7 games after that. If you think 6-1 is doable. And if you think after that stretch of games, the Nets should be 2 games over 500. Comment, share, all that good stuff. Video's 20 minutes now, over 20 minutes, so let's wrap it up. Till the next NetsBoy episode, keep your eyes open. And until then, this is NetsBoy saying lay off Kyrie and signing off.